Welcome to Redbeard Radio. I'm Brian Keith, and today we are going to save you 100 hours of your life in just 20 minutes of time. A bold claim, you might say, and a bold claim it is. But I have a secret for you, a secret weapon that once you deploy this, we're going to go get more of your content in all the different ways you're creating it out to your audience in a way that saves you and your team 100 hours of time over the next year. To help us achieve this circus-like feat of daring do, we have Hani Mourra. Welcome to the show, Hani.
Thank you, Brian. That was the best intro I've ever heard. Thank you, man. That was amazing.
Well, circus-like, because people do things that are impossible in circuses, like the trapeze, and there's these elephants, and maybe they're swallowing swords. And when I think about the content that I put out, which I'm not sure exactly what episode number this particular episode will have, but probably 110, 120, somewhere in there. That's a huge, huge amount of content. And the problem is, okay, so you do the podcast and some people listen to it. That's cool. But if you just then, the content is dead, it's been used. And maybe, people listen to back catalogs a little bit. But there's all this content and there's all these people that I want to get it out to, but it's hard. It takes for freaking ever. And that's the problem that the app we're talking about today, folks, the app solves. And the app is called Repurpose. It's at repurpose.io. I first heard about it from John Lee Dumas, an entrepreneur on fire. And I figure maybe you don't need to use all the same tools that JLD uses, but you should have a good reason not to. And you should probably try, even if you think it's not going to work for you, because it's what JLD uses and he's where he's at. So that's sort of the spirit, because I already had a system, Hani. Mm-hmm. My system was, we get the transcript from the podcast. My team looks at it. They find 5 quotes. They make those 5 quotes into quote art using Canva. They go grab an audio snippet from the podcast using Wave, and then they go schedule that in Hootsuite. We had a system. Mm-hmm. But then I heard about Repurpose, and I thought, ooh, wait a minute. Maybe this is going to be a lot faster, and not just faster, but it's also more, right? Like we were doing one audio snippet from each 15 to 25 minute episode. And now I'm thinking, as I've used Repurpose, I'm thinking, oh, actually, there's more like 10 or maybe 20 little snippets from each guest. But also, here's the other thing, Hani, I've been ignoring all the content that I've put out in terms of me speaking because I want to create a great social media package for my guests on the podcast so they can have that to share. Well, that's been fine. Canva and Wave worked fine for that. But that's only one audio snippet. But now I think, well, if I have a better system, did you know that I talk a lot on my podcast? Shockingly, why don't I have 10 audio snippets from me per podcast? Well, with 100 episodes, that's 1,000 little audio snippets. That's enough to have like 3 per day without repeating for a year. Mm-hmm. So that's me talking a lot about why I think your app is so cool. For folks not familiar with repurpose.io yet, Hani, can you go and tell us more about where this idea came from for your app?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the media, seeing video, audio, 8-9 years, doing it myself. Like not more audio, more video. I'm a lover of video ever since I was a kid. I have an engineering background and I love software engineer. I love creating things, but more importantly, I like to make videos, but I also like to put content out to the world because I learned that if you don't put it out there, no one's going to see it. I mean, it sounds really simple, but a lot of people make content and they don't put it out on enough channels for enough people to see. So I'm just going to give you the short version. I don't want to bore people here, but basically about 8-9 years ago, I'm a big lover of YouTube for traffic, etc. I made a little app for my WordPress site that would automatically take my YouTube videos, put them onto my blog for me because I hated that manual process. So I created it, I got someone to help me build it, shared it with enough people. And then that was my first software I ever built about 9 years ago. Then I got into podcasting, helping people produce their podcasts, edit, and got to hang out a lot of podcasters at conferences. And then I built a second tool for WordPress that takes your podcast, put it on your WordPress site. So people love that automation. They can just focus on their content and let the episodes automatically go to their website. Then I built another one for Facebook because Facebook Live was big and a lot of people were doing Facebook Live. So I built another tool for that. So people love the automation, love the fact that they can just focus on creating and then let our software put it on their WordPress site. But then people are like, I want you to step it up, Hani. I want you to take it to the next level. We love that we're going to WordPress, but can you go from one platform to another? For example, can I make an audio podcast and then maybe you can turn it into a video for me or send it to YouTube or make a little clip and send it to Twitter. Or if I'm a video creator, hey, I want to just go live on Facebook and I want that video to go to YouTube. I want clips to go to Twitter and Instagram. And even cooler is, hey, can you convert that video into an audio automatically for me and send it to my podcasting platform? So that's how the idea was born. Is people love the automation tools we built for WordPress, and then we took it to the next level. So now we can go way beyond WordPress. We can go take a piece of content from one platform, audio or video, transform it to cool different shapes, styles, audio to video, video to audio. But more importantly, we also distribute it to all your platforms. So we can publish direct to Twitter, to Instagram, to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube.
Stop me if this sounds familiar, folks. Some parts of what you do for work you love, and they feel like play. And other parts of what you do for work feel like mowing your lawn or sweeping a driveway or something. It has to be done. Someone has to do it, but it doesn't add any value really. Hani, what I love about your tool is that I can see how, and I've not done it yet, but I can see how if there's no friction afterwards, well, it becomes a lot easier to just go live on Facebook on a regular basis. If I know that between the team I have handling your app and then the app handling getting the content to the various platforms, it just gets easier because I can get the payoff from the activity without having to do any work, because I actually like going live and talking about stuff, and I like interviewing people on my podcast. So that's the play part of what I do. It's that back end stuff that's like, let me go find another quote, look through transcripts, whatever.
Brian, man, you nailed it. You nailed it. You're going to create more content knowing that you have a system in place or an app in place like repurpose.io that will take care of all the heavy lifting, the boring stuff, the downloading and uploading and rendering video, all that stuff doesn't exist anymore. You click a button and you set up the rules inside our platform, and you can use a team to help you manage and control it, or you can kind of set things up on autopilot. But either way, just knowing that you have a system in place, it makes it fun again. It makes it fun to create. And that's where the value is creating your content.
And in simplifying, I think about if I had, now I'm one of those Luddites that doesn't have Facebook on my phone, so it's a terrible distraction. But if I did, I think about, if I'm going for a walk and I have something worth saying, instead of even writing a note to myself, or instead of even dictating it into Rev, to be able to go live on Facebook from my phone, knowing that that will automatically get pushed to be a draft podcast post. And so then me later, or my team, can go look at that and evaluate and say, is this actually good?
Mm-hmm.
Do I actually want this to go out on the podcast, or have it be automatic? Either way, that it's removing those barriers between creativity and delivering value. I've told clients forever that my goal with my clients is I want to reduce the amount of time between your good idea and the first dollar of revenue you get from that good idea. And this is sort of the same thing in terms of reduce the amount of time between your being creative and then the first time someone gets to get value from that in a new platform, like the first Instagram story that shows up from me going live on Facebook while I'm taking a walk, thinking about something. If I can reduce that amount of time and provide that value in more platforms, then the value of how much I'm putting out into the world doubles, goes up by a factor of 10, something like that.
Yes, exactly. And, a lot of people make the mistake of making content, going live or recording a video on their phone, and then A, they don't post it anywhere because they're kind of like, oh, I'm not sure if it's good enough. Or B, to me, it's even a little more bigger waste of time is you just post it on one platform. Like, oh, I hang out on Facebook, so I'm just going to post it on Facebook. But you're missing a big opportunity on other platforms. Even if you don't have a following there, just the fact that you're publishing daily, and a lot of people get scared and oh no, I got to make content every day. No, you can take existing content, slice it up, and have content go out daily from a single video that you've made. But the fact that you're publishing content daily and on your different social platforms is going to build that following, is going to get attention to those feeds because you're putting content out more often. And then another untapped area is audio, right? We're doing an audio interview, but just going live on Facebook, you can turn a lot of those Facebook lives or YouTube lives or whatever platform you go live on, or any video you've made, you can turn into an audio. People can get value and consume content on the go. That's the beauty of audio. It's just more portable.
Now, that's one really interesting thing. I have my Redbeard Accelerator membership, where it's a membership, so group coaching style with a group chat, that sort of thing, 2 live calls per week. And some of those live calls are discussing individual members, what they're working on, et cetera. But some of them are me explaining some concept or giving some feedback on some idea. Well, if in 2 hours of live calls a week, let's say there was 10 to 20 minutes, let's say 3 or 4 content pieces that my team could go take from that video and then push out through Repurpose, and then even append something to each one of those, or even a little intro saying, hey there, this content comes to you from inside the Redbeard Accelerator. If you want to know more, go to joinredbeard.com. Let's go to it. And then it's a clip of me talking about whatever.
Yeah.
And it's clear that it's me in a class kind of format. And then a little outro there. Well, I can automate all that through my team. I have Riverwood Media handling all this stuff. So, and it's the best advertising, right? It's here's exactly what you're going to get on the inside. And it's extra monetizing the stuff that I'm delivering that I'm getting paid for in the moment by the members. So it's like double dipping your content.
Yes. That's a beautiful use case that's a lot of people don't even look at, is sharing something from a paid membership out to public. And people are like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I can't give away everything. But you're teasing out that piece of content from your membership area or your mastermind group or in a paid environment. And that's, like you said, the perfect advertisement. And the fact that you don't have to go record another video, you just take a clip right from that video.
Yeah, I tell you, I've had the intention of, I'm going to go shoot a quick little live video after I finish up on one of my live calls. I've had that intention 1,000 times for every single time I've actually done it.
Yeah.
Because I give everything I've got to my accelerator members. After those calls, you can ask my fiance, I mostly just fall over and I'm unintelligible for the rest of the evening because I have left everything on the field. I'm done. And so tomorrow I'll do a recap. I occasionally post on Twitter and say, here's what we covered today, or here's what we covered yesterday. Something very lo-fi. But to have a rich, even telling my team, hey, take the best 1 to 3 minutes from this call and then push it out through Repurpose, including as a blog post, where with the kind of content you could push out to, because you push out from an audio or a video, you push out to Google Drive or Dropbox, which means I can now grab that and turn that into a blog post with Zapier, let's say. And then I use a tool called Feedbolt, which emails your list on whatever basis you choose based on there being new blog posts showing up. So if I want, let's say, podcast subscribers, if you go to redbeard.am, you can subscribe to the email version of the podcast. Right now, it's just once a week. The podcast goes live Tuesday morning, 5 a.m. The grabber tool around 8 a.m. says, is there anything new in this RSS feed? And when there is, it emails all the subscribers. Well, I want them to be getting all those episodes, but if I sprinkled in there, here's some 1 to 5 minute things from the accelerator, that'd be great. And it wouldn't be overwhelming at all, but it would just be there. So folks who are podcast subscribers can see, oh, here's the paid thing. And they can get a taste. And it's really funny because the person I would have do this, Rihanna at riverwoodmedia.com, she's my producer. So she's listening to all this and she's saying, oh man, there's a lot of work coming down the road. So, hi, Rihanna, love you. As we describe, like, here's all these ways, like, yeah, listening to these 2 hours of audio. Oh man, that makes so much sense. Yeah, there's another tool, another approach I started using last week, I think it was. I use Podscribe for my transcripts of the podcast, and I wanted to go make some more audio snippets with Repurpose. But for me, I read so much faster than I listen. What I did is I had Repurpose on the right side of my screen, and I had Podscribe on the left side of my screen. So I'd read through the actual transcript on the left of what the guest was saying, and then I would decide when and where to stop something. And then on my right screen, I would have in Repurpose, I'd be making the clips as I went along. It was fascinating because being able to read through it, I could just skim down to, what's the really most interesting bits? And that was really effective.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we're also adding a bunch of tools into Repurpose coming down the pipeline to really help. Like, we're focusing now on extracting the right clips. That's the part that's a little more manual, right? You need to kind of read through or listen to. So we're going to add some search capabilities. We're going to add our own transcription services in there, so you can quickly transcribe something, pick the clip right away. So yeah, we're going to look into expand.
That sounds great.
We dove in deep with repurpose and automation.
True.
But really, the whole point of repurposing your content is to be able to create content, let's say once a week. Like,
Yeah.
if you're doing an audio podcast or a video from a single piece of content, let's say you go 15-minute video or 15-minute interview, audio or video, you can turn that into at least 20 pieces of content, which will get you posting every day on the top 4 or 5 platforms, the Facebook, YouTube, and so you don't have to feel this hamster wheel effect where, oh no, I didn't post a video today. Oh, I got to make a video or I got to go live. Like, you can record it all in advance, pick one day a month and, record 4 15-minute episodes, or just once a week, go live for 15 minutes, do an interview, record it, an audio session, whatever it is that you like doing. Just need 15-20 minutes of content. And then you have, from that single piece of content, you can create at least 20 and have content going out automatically to all your social platforms. So you can have automatic and even scheduled as well. We got a built-in scheduler. So there's a lot of value in repurposing, and it's not stressful compared to feeling the need to create content every day, because the quality will go down if you're just creating content just for the sake of it.
I record podcasts every other week on Mondays.
Nice.
And I'm currently doing a bunch, in part so Rihanna doesn't kill me for being behind, but in part to go explore doing more than one episode a week. But that way I'm only doing that kind of output every other week.
Yeah.
And then I alternate that with writing days. So every other Monday, I'm only writing, no meetings, no talking, no video, just writing.
Oh, interesting.
And that level of creative balance really does it for me.
Yeah. I remember like what you said a few minutes ago about all the energy you put in your live calls. I feel the same, like with your mastermind groups and your membership areas. I feel the same too. Like, it takes a lot of energy, and like, you put your heart and soul into a piece of content. You can't do that every day.
Yeah.
The energy levels won't be there every day. So if you do one once a week, or if you dedicate a full day to record 4 episodes, for example, that's a whole month of everyday posting on social.
Yeah.
Just recording content in one day. That's the idea of batching, right? I love that idea.
Yeah.
If you're in the mood, you're in the zone, it's your day. I have a content day, I call it. Tuesdays is when I create content, and I don't know, it worked for me, and I like it. I feel good. I'm in the mood. I already know my calendar's blocked off, so it's not like I'm creating it just for the sake of creating it. So having your system, whatever works for you, just focus on creating good quality content. So that's always been my tip to people. Not quantity, but getting good quality once a week, because you can turn that one into many very easily.
And having a schedule for that, at least for me, really helps. I know when I'm recording, when you get the link to go book into my podcast schedule, it's very clear, like, hey, this is when I'm recording. So I just know what's happening. Like today, I'm going to be talking a lot because it's a Monday. And then Tuesdays is when I do my Redbeard Accelerator calls. So I have some client calls before the day, but then I end the day with these 2 calls. So I know my whole energy for the whole day, I can plan around, oh yeah, I'm moving towards this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving towards this delivery. And then I get a rest because I don't do calls on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So I know at max, like this week, today and tomorrow, 2 very high intensity days. And then I get a rest.
Yeah, I think that's really important because, like we said earlier, like, it's important. You don't want to create for the sake of creating. You want to create for the sake of like delivering value. You can hear it in your voice. You can see it in video. When your energy is there and you're 100%, that's when you attract and connect with the right people.
Let's talk about the simplest use case ever. We've described a whole bunch of relatively complex use cases here, but it's actually quite easy to get set up with Repurpose and just get one thing out the door. So let's talk about Facebook Live, and let's talk about pushing from Facebook Live to one other place. Let's say Twitter.
Okay.
What's the minimum workflow look like for someone who's like, man, repurpose.io, it sounds cool, but I don't want to spend a lot of energy to find out if it's going to work or not. So they go on Facebook Live. Now, can that be from a profile, a group, a page, or what?
Yeah. So you can go profile, page, or group. We support all 3.
Okay, so they can do Facebook Live. So you need to be logged into your Facebook account, and then you need to open up your Repurpose app. You connect the 2. There's this little connections icon on the left. And then for publishing your content from Facebook Live to Twitter, What does that look like? What do you need?
Yeah, so you got to go and connect your Twitter as well. So it's just like, most social media platforms, you got to just connect anything you want to repurpose to or repurpose from. So we've connected Facebook, then now you want to connect your Twitter, you probably want to connect your Instagram, whatever you plan on using. Those are kind of one-time thing. You just connect it, give us a permission to post to your accounts. And then the fun happens is we call them workflows. So workflow has one input, one action, one output. So in this use case here, your input is your Facebook, let's say, page. Let's say you're going live on your page. So you go to repurpose, say, I make a new workflow. You choose Facebook as my Facebook page as my input. Your action, since we're taking a video and we're going to make a little clip, because Twitter has a limit of 220, I think, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. So, your step 2, he says, I want to keep it as a video, but I want it to be a clip. And then step 3, you just say, hey, where do I want this content to go to? In this case, we say Twitter. So every workflow's got in, action, and out. So Facebook, keep it as a video clip, and my output is Twitter. And then you view all the Facebook Lives you've ever done on that page. You click view content inside of Repurpose, and it shows you all your videos, all your Facebook Lives. And then in terms of clips, the super simple way is to say, hey, you know what? Just grab the first 2 minutes of my Facebook Live. So you can turn a button on and say, hey, grab the first 2 minutes automatically, and it will make a clip for you. And you can hit publish or schedule, and that's it. You're done. You have a tweet going out to Twitter from the first, let's say, 2 minutes of your Facebook Live. That's a dead simple case. But most people want a particular clip. We have a little video editing tool that you click on it, and then you can drag a couple of sliders to choose a start point and end point. And then you can make that more precise, exactly where you want it to start. And then you can, same thing, click publish or schedule on a specific day.
It's pretty darn easy. The most difficult thing, folks, I found with this is when the guest is speaking fast for my podcast. And so I can't figure out which second to begin a clip at because it either starts right like in the middle of the previous word or in the middle of the word that I want to start the clip. That's literally the most complicated thing about this.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Maybe 5 minutes to get this very simplest use case set up?
Yeah. I mean,
something like that.
Honestly, a lot of people just if you're doing a lot of Facebook Lives, there's always a big opportunity to be on YouTube, right? So the most common use case for people who do Facebook Lives is to just take the whole Facebook Live after we're done, take it, send it to YouTube. So you build your YouTube channel instantly from anytime you go live on Facebook, you can have it automatically go to YouTube. And the cool thing is, so because of Twitter is shorter episodes, we don't recommend using our auto mode, but something like if you're taking the entire episode and you want to send the entire copy to YouTube, you can there's a switch to called auto. And what that means, every time you go live, within an hour or two, the video will just show up on YouTube. You don't even need to log in to repurpose anymore. So any workflow you have, you can have it set it to be on automatic mode, and it will just do it for you without even logging into our software.
Fantastic. Folks, if you try this and you have any hiccups besides Repurposes tech support, I welcome you to contact me. Just make a post on Twitter and tag me at RedbeardBrian with what you're trying to do and then what happened instead if it didn't work how you expected. And let's get you set up with this. Even if you decide it's not the right app for you, this is what John Lee Dumas uses. So you should go give it 5 minutes of your life and try it and then see. It's possible that like everyone else, when there's less friction to do a thing that gives you benefits, you do the things more. And what would it mean if you could double or 10x your level of creative output without increasing how much time you're spending? That's where we get that promise I started off with. In 20 minutes, we're going to save you 100 hours. That if we can actually get you using this tool, and just use it for a month. What's the price tag to get started, Hani?
You have a free trial, so you can publish 10 videos, 10 clips, 10 whatever you want for free. So there's no commitment financially. So would definitely encourage you to try it.
Well, okay then. Free trial. And then if you get stuck, besides tech support, you can find me on Twitter at RedbeardBrian and get my help there to get you set up. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Where can people go to learn more if they want to go dive in more than just what we've talked about here to go explore more of how to use this tool?
The best feedback we've got from our customers is people who sign up for a trial. And right inside there, you'll see a link to a free course called the distribution course. And that walks you through step by step, setting by setting, So it asks, are you creating audio content? Follow these steps to set up exactly what you need to set up. If you're doing video content, follow these steps. So it's a free course that's included with your trial as well. So if you go to repurpose.io, you can check it out, sign up for a free trial, and then you get access to the free course.
Wonderful. Hani, thank you so much. And thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Brian.